down, please. Should have a piece of paper on your desk and your pencil and your calculator. Just go ahead and set them right on your desk. I'm going to grab your attention for just a minute. Today's Tie Tuesday. Okay, this is something that I celebrate every single week of every single year. Okay, I wear a tie every Tuesday. And part of this is just an outlook. Okay, some days are harder than others. Some days you feel more confident than others. And the most important part of my job is making sure that you become the very best version of you by the end of the school year. Okay, I love to wear a tie. Some people look at me like I'm crazy. Like Mr. Thorson says, I can't believe you choose to wear that. He's like, I never choose to wear a tie. I like it. I feel professional. I feel confident. And I'm ready for my day when I get up with it. So I always challenge people, join me. Wear a tie on Tuesdays. I don't care if you wear it with a t-shirt. I don't care if you wear it with slacks. But the biggest thing is you have to leave it on all day long. You can't take it off. Okay? But you also have to have the outlook that I do. Stop. I don't have time for this. It is not funny. You are not here to entertain the rest of my class. If you interrupt me again, you will make up that time at the end of the day. Do you understand? Does everybody understand that? You are not here to entertain anyone. I don't have time for it. So if you want to try something different, you want to be able to just do something for yourself, join me on Tuesdays. I'll remind you next week. Today's weird because we didn't have a Monday, but I'll remind you next Monday if you want to. All right? Okay, today is more calculator work than anything else. Okay? You have to understand how we type square roots into the calculator. So here's your notes. A square root of a number is one of its two equal factors. In other words, you ask yourself, what number times itself gets me to my goal? For the square root of 25, you ask yourself, what number times itself gets me 25? We are not going to fill out this chart again. Okay? We're going to talk about how you type this in on your calculator. Everybody grab your calculator. Caitlin and Tegan's are going to be a tidge different, but everybody else's should be pretty close to the same. Find your number 7 key. You don't have to find your 7 key. You're going to use this button right here. You're going to use this button right here. Everybody else, find your 7 key, the number 7. Go one button to the left. It should say x squared. And look in the background of that. Look in the background of x squared. Do you see this symbol? See that? Okay. In order to get there, we have to use the second key. And the second key is way up in the left-hand corner of your calculator. It literally says 2ND. See it? It's just going to be different. I'll hop into that. Okay. So we have to hit second, hit that colored button up in the upper left-hand corner. And then you hit that x squared button. And on your calculator, you should get a square root symbol, just like what's drawn up on the board. If you don't, you did it incorrectly. So clear it out. Clear it out. Yours is the same thing. So the x squared, see it in the background. So in order to get that, you gotta hit that shift key. So hit your shift key and then that x squared button. Don't hold it, just press it once. Yeah. Oh, so you must have to. Okay, hold on. Let me try something once. 25, shift, square root. So you're going to have to type the number in first, then go shift square root, and then it'll do it for you. Okay? You type the number in first, 25, and then hit that button. That's your square root button. Okay? Hit the second key in the upper left-hand corner. And then you have to hit, nope, just one time. And then you have to hit the x squared button. Now you have the square root on there. Now everybody type in the square root of 25 and hit equals. So clear that out. Hit the second button up in the corner, then the x squared button. That's how you get the square root in there. Then type 25. Did you figure out how to do yours? Awesome. Don't want a 7 on there. Clear that out. Square root of 25, what should you get? You should get 5. No, type 25. Nope, you were right. No. Dude, you were right. Go back. Now hit 25. Hit equals. Everybody get 5 on there? Oops, you have a 7 in front of there. Don't actually push the 7 key. So do the same thing you were doing before. Go second, and then your x squared button, and then 25. Now hit equals. Awesome. Yeah, hit the second button first up in the upper left-hand corner. Then hit that x squared button. Now 25. Hit equals. Okay, everybody try it. Now I want you to type in the square root of 49. The square root of 49. Put your hand down. Tone. I can't have you squawking and making noises. You're disrupting my thought process. You're disrupting everybody else around you. Okay, I want everybody to type in the square root of 49. Here's the deal. This is how we practice. When you have a quiz next week, I can't help you do this on your calculator. What do you get? Square root of 49 is 7. 7. If you're not getting these, you need to ask. Okay, so let's go here. All square roots have a positive and negative root. So we have to look in front of that square root or that radical sign to see, do they want the positive or negative or both? Okay, so that first one says the square root of 64. If there's no symbol in front of it, do you think they want the positive, the negative, or both? Just the positive. Okay? So our answer is only going to be positive. On your own, silently, without making any noise, type in the square root of 64 and write down your answer. Don't get too far ahead of me. Don't get too far ahead of me because you're going to get that wrong.
I got it wrong.
Don't work ahead of me. The square root of 64 is 8. So my answer is 8. And I only need the positive because there's not a sign in front of that 8. So if we go down, look what's in front of this one. It's this weird symbol, but that means positive and negative. Only difference is in your answer, you have to put the positive and negative symbol. Now type this into your calculator. The square root of 121. Don't shout the answer. Don't make any noise. Do it silently. So type in the square root of 121. And you get 11. Make sure you have the positive and negative symbol in front of it, though. That came from the original problem. Okay? We go to the right. Everybody panics. I don't like fractions. Miss Hoff, I don't know how to put fractions on my calculator. You never put a fraction in your calculator. Miss Hoff never wants to see you do that. Look what's out front. A negative. What is our answer going to be? Negative. So right away, I'm going to put that negative out front so I don't forget it. Then what we have to do is really, we just take the square root of 25 and the square root of 36 as two separate pieces. Okay? So don't lose the negative. Take the square root of 25 and the square root of 36 and write those two numbers down on your own. Square root of 25 on the top. Square root of 36 on the bottom. Now, some of you didn't write this down. I would make sure to write this down so if you look at it later, you remember like, oh yeah, how did I get that answer? Okay. Square root of 25 is 5. Square root of 36 is 6. Notice there's only one negative sign. We only want one negative sign. Okay. Negative or square root of negative 16. Type this into your calculator. You're right. Perfect. Type this into your calculator now. Can I see your calculator for a minute? The negative key is down by the 0. Don't use the minus key. You got to use the negative. So square root negative 16. You type in 16 first. Then hit that sign right there to make it negative. Then hit your button. Type in the square root of negative 16. Are you panicking? Are you panicking? What's it say? Domain error. You did it correctly. What? If it says syntax error, you're wrong. But if it says domain error, you've done it correctly. And the reason for this is, what we want to know is what number, bless you, times its twin gives me negative 16. People right away say, 4, Miss Hoff, 4 times 4. Well, a positive times a positive is a positive. They wanted a negative. They're like, oh, that's fine. Just make them negative. A negative times a negative is a positive. So the answer to this is no real number. You have to write that out. No real number. Because the two numbers have to be twins, they have to be the same, we cannot make a negative. Now, be careful though, or make sure you know the difference between these two. The negative on the outside is okay. The negative on the inside, your calculator will say domain error, which is correct. So they may give us equations, but we follow the same rules as we always have. But this time, we always have two answers. On equations, we always have two answers, the positive and the negative. So when it says t squared equals 169, what we have to do, and this is the work you have to show me, square up both sides. It's like a big check mark. And when you square it, it cancels the squared, and you're left with just a t. But you always have to have two answers, a positive and a negative. On your calculator, silently type in the square root of 169. The whole assignment is on this. If you don't know how, you got to be practicing. What'd you get? 13. Okay? You guys try, that's it. You try a squared on your own. That's it. A squared equals 289. Show me the same work as we did on the one right above it. So for work, you should show me that you took the square root of both sides. Your squared cancels, so you have a equals. Make sure you have a plus and a minus sign. What's the square root of 289? 17. Okay? You guys try these two. On your own, same exact way. Remember about that fraction. Look right up above what we did with that fraction. Okay, so that's what I've been asking you twice now. Because you're not going to know how to do the whole assignment unless you know how to type it in here. So let's practice. How did we do that? Second key in the x squared button. Is that the x squared button? Do you get a square root? Okay. Question. Good? Okay. So on the top one, m squared equals 9. We're going to put the square root symbol on both sides. They cancel. M equals, don't forget, plus and minus. What's the square root of 9? Don't 3. Nicely done. On the y squared, we're going to take the square root. The y squared cancels. Y equals, and everybody panics. Oh no, a fraction. But Ms. Hoff said, remember, it's just two separate ones. Get up and get it. Get up and get it. Get up and get it. Petro, don't bug her. Get up and get it yourself. Square root of, oh, and then we got to remember we had a positive and negative, right? What's the square root of 4? 2, and the square root of 25? 5. Nicely done. Okay, set your pencils down. I'm going to show you exactly what your homework looks like. Okay, per your guys' request, I made, is this what your sheets looked like last year? No. Yeah. This'll work, at least for organization. So I made a bunch of those, okay? So here's what your homework looks like today. So it says, what number is equal to the square root of 9? So you take your calculator. Leave it closed, leave it closed. Right now, you guys, take your calculator. Take the square root of 9. Right? 3. So I'm going to type 3. Hit that check key. They say, good job. The square root of 25, 36. Everybody, close your laptops. You're doing nothing but sitting. Sit. I'm showing you exactly what your homework's going to look like. Square root of 25, 36. We did a fraction already. Now notice, this has that not a real number option, okay? Negative square root of 49. Negative square root of 49. Sarah? Negative 7? Agree or disagree?
Agree.
Agree?
Yes.
How about the square root of negative 9? How do you know? Very good. A negative underneath is a problem. Well done, Sarah. A negative out front, no big deal. A negative underneath, we have to click not a real number. And then we say, check. They say, good job. When you have an equation, you always have two answers. So I need to take u squared equals 16. U squared equals 16. And I square root both sides. It cancels the squared. U equals, and we were writing the answer as plus or minus 4. That really means there's two answers. So on your Alex, you need to put a positive 4, then hit this button with a comma right here, and type in negative 4. See how you're going to write them as two separate answers? We were writing as a plus and a minus, positive and negative. With an equation, you always have a positive and a negative answer. Number 5 goes back to the beginning. Do you have to turn in work for me?
Yeah.
No, not on online assignments. If you ask me or Mr. Brees for help and you have nothing written down, it's going to be really hard to help you. Okay? I will have these sheets on the back counter. If you want to use your own notebook paper, that's fine. But look at me, eyes here. When you are done with this assignment to 100%, you work in your pie chart. There is no moving about the room. There is no conversations happening. We're not doing anything else. So once you get this to 100%, you go back out to home and you start working in that pie chart over here where it says start my path. I want zero disruption. Nobody's leaving to go to the bathroom. Nobody's leaving to get a drink. Nobody's wandering around the room. Do we all understand that? Yes. I expect it to be quiet in here out of respect for yourself and everybody else around you. Okay? Question? Nope. Pie chart. Okay? All right. Rock and roll.